So today we're going to talk about how to lift fingerprints from glass and paper as well as other things. When you touch an object, an invisible fingerprint image is actually usually left behind. These are formed from the oils produced by the glands formed on your fingerprints. They're invisible prints and they are called latent prints. There are several techniques for capturing these. They can be lifted or they can be photographed. These latent prints are used as individual evidence. Now remember, I told you before that this is important. You need to know the difference between individual evidence and class evidence. Individual identifies you specifically as a person. Techniques used to make latent prints visible is either putting on a clear or light colored hard surface and then use the dark powder. And we'll actually show you guys how to do that. Or putting it at a dark colored hard surface and then using a light powder. You can use metals and plastics to develop the print, super glue fumes and that kind of stuff. You may have seen this technique done on CSI shows. It's kind of interesting. We will not be doing that in here. And then when the fingerprints are on paper, you dust with a dark powder and develop the print with iodine fumes and then spray the print. We won't do this in here either, but I have a cool video that you guys can watch after this that shows them actually doing this. So iodine fumes turn into gas, which will actually stick to the latent prints left behind. The iodine developed print is not permanent and actually will fade, so pictures are taken. So we won't actually do this. This is something they used to actually do. We won't do this because it is, as you can see, kind of dangerous. This is something we will do. So we will use the black metallic powder to actually pick up and lift fingerprints, which is kind of cool. We don't have any silver, but we have the black. So always keep the glass slide on the table when you try to lift it off the glass. So that's the first stuff that we're going to do, is we're going to try to lift prints off of glass. And you want to keep it on the table so you don't break the slide. Make sure you clean the slide if it's dirty. And then you're going to make a latent print. To make a latent print on the slide, you're going to actually press your thumb to the side of your nose or your hairline, and you're just going to slide it across. I like to slide it across the top of my forehead, close to my hairline, and pick up extra oils. And that does just fine. And then you're just going to press it onto the glass slide. You don't want to slide your finger across it, or you're going to have a big smudge and you're not going to have much of anything to pick up. And then your fingerprint should kind of look like this. You're going to place the slide down on a piece of white paper, and then you're going to gently brush, and we'll show you how. So make sure you don't actually touch the magnet that you pick up the dusting, the magnetic dust with, because if you actually hit the slide, you're going to mess up your print. You want to just barely let it dangle off the end of the magnet and just let that barely brush the slide. So yes, do not let the plastic brush smear the print. Use magnetic dust to use the magnetic dust to carefully collect all the excess. So I'll show you how to use the rod. Make sure you are actually using it to pick it all up and put it back in the dish. The latent print should be visible at this point with all the ridges covered in a thin layer of dust. And then you're going to get a piece of tape long enough to fit over the entire print, and then you're going to stick one end of the tape to the slide and then use your thumb to smooth the rest of the tape over the print. Be careful not to scratch it with your fingernail or you'll mess it up. And then when it's stuck tightly to the side, you can peel it off and then you can actually stick it to your paper. And there's a little area on this section that's where you'll be sticking them. So you want to do at least 3 and then mark your best. To do it on paper is kind of the same technique. So at this moment you need to pause, go ahead and try it on glass, and then we'll try it on paper here in a moment, and you can continue the video in a moment. So to make the latent print on paper, you're going to press your thumb to your face again, pick up the extra oils, don't press too hard on your paper, use the same technique. You're going to dust with the beard, don't let the plastic hit it, and then you're going to very carefully apply the tape over the paper. If you press too hard on the tape's going to stick to the paper and you're not going to get it back up. You need to just very carefully, kind of firmly apply the tape and then carefully peel it back up. And then you're going to do your best 3 of those and put it in the space below. When you get the okay, you can actually move on with more practice in identifying fingerprints. I have another worksheet for you.